order at this time and do a brief roll call, folks. And Denise will go around and call on everyone. But again, per our procedures here, if everyone could just state their name and where they are coming from, that would be great.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Keeler.
This is Commissioner Larry Keeler, Vice Chair, coming to you from my recliner in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Thank you. Commissioner Mozak.
Yes, Commissioner Kathleen Mozak calling in from Ann Arbor, Michigan, Washtenaw County.
Thank you. Councilmember Nelson.
Elizabeth Nelson dialing in from City of Ann Arbor.
Okay, and Commissioner Damon.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Zach Damon. I'm the chairman, and I am zooming in from the City of Ann Arbor in Washtenaw County.
Okay, Commissioner Poster is absent. Commissioner Hawkins is absent. Commissioner Button is absent. Commissioner Solomon is absent. Commissioner Hall said he will be very late, and Commissioner Gossage said he will be late as well. We do not have a quorum at this time.
All right, good to know that we do not have a quorum, but I would like to briefly look over today's agenda. If we can do that now as I'm talking, that would be great, just to be conducive of time. If there are any objections, please mention that at this point. Otherwise, I'd like to make a motion to approve today's agenda. Is there any objections, or is there a second to approve today's agenda?
Yeah, we can't approve it, sir.
Yes, we can just look at it.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, you're right. So, well, all we can do is look at it at this point. I think it looks pretty good, but of course, we're not able to approve anything as of right now. So do apologize about that. Since we're not really able to do that, I guess, look at some things at your leisure, but I would like to, if everyone is okay, I would like to skip down then to our special presentations, unless we have some public comment, but I don't think we do at this time, Denise.
No, not at the present time. Hold on, I have a few more people coming in.
Okay.
Okay. Commissioner Hawkins, please let me know. State your location.
Rachel Hawkins, Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Pippin, Alan Pippin, would you please state your location?
Hi there, this is Commissioner Alan Pipkin. I'm reporting in from Ypsilanti, Michigan.
Okay.
Thank you both for being here. We appreciate it. Good to see you.
Commissioner Poster, could you give me your location?
Yes, I'm calling in from Ann Arbor, Michigan, West Side.
Thank you.
This is Commissioner Keeler. I have a question and a statement.
Sure, go ahead.
Since the people who are presenting are in, have time constraints, I move that we approve the agendas then after the presentations.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I second that. All right. All right, everyone, are you guys in favor of doing that? Or all of you all right with starting with these presentations? I know that the State Street and Ms. Amber Miller I would like to present, but does have another meeting. All right, wonderful. So with that, we'll skip down to the presentation for the State Street project. I'd like to welcome Ms. Amber Miller of the Downtown Development Authority and Bob Doyle of the Smith Group, and of course, Oliver Kelly of the Smith Group as well. Thank you for all of you for joining us, and to all of the work that you're doing. And Ms. Miller, the floor is yours.
Thank you. And thank you so much for accommodating us early in your agenda. It's really appreciated. We will be brief, but we do want to get some important feedback into our State Street project. So I'm going to ask Oliver to share his screen. Oliver, you're muted.
Thank you. This is Oliver Kiley from Smith Group. I just went to hit the share screen button and I don't have screen sharing enabled for me. I don't know if that would be
Yeah,
Sure.
possible.
Could you do that?
Yes.
please? Thank you.
Thank you, Denise.
Sure.
And that will be fairly quick moving through this. And then, great, thank you. Oops, I hit the hand button. All right, let's see if that works. Did that come up for
Yes.
folks? Great, okay. We'll keep this to about 5 minutes just to walk through, and then if there's questions and discussion that follows, we would love to engage you in that conversation. So as you know, this is for the State Street project. This has been in the design and planning stages for a little over a year now. We had a range of public workshops back in March of this year that helped set the design direction. And what we're moving towards, and what you can see in this image, is just kind of a typical look down the street as it's being planned. And State Street is from William north to Washington Street. Those 3 blocks are being planned and designed as a curbless street to help can really just accommodate a lot more flexible uses of the street. Certainly from a wheelchair perspective or an ADA accessibility perspective, there's not the curbs to navigate, so there's definitely some advantage there. The general idea of the street that you can see is a travel lane for vehicles in each direction. There's a valley gutter on each side of that. That's a pretty shallow, a very shallow, gentle gutter that is accessible. There's a curbside lane, and then the pedestrian area with space for kind of the usual amenity zone and streetscape area, and then a clear sidewalk area. And with the street design, and what we would love to get some feedback on today is, while it's great from a wheelchair access standpoint, it does raise some questions around people with visual disabilities or visual impairments and how they navigate that space safely. And a lot of that comes down to the material design and material selection, so that things are so that there's visual contrast for people with some sight, as well as texture things for people that are need to be able to feel those differences either underfoot or with, say, a walking cane. And so just an example of some of the materials that we're looking at initially, and there's some other ones that we need to add on to that, but standard concrete, accent concrete that's in a contrasting color that helps set that differentiation between the sidewalk and the amenity zone. And then there's some exposed aggregate that has concrete that has a little bit of texture in it that's used in some parts of the road as well, to help slow down traffic and keep drivers going a little bit more slowly. But as we start to look at a shared street particularly from a visual accessibility standpoint, the FHWA, Federal Highway Administration, does have some guidance that we're following as best as we're able to. And you'll see in a minute, there's some gaps in that guidance that local communities have an opportunity to kind of sort through how they would like to respond to that. But just to get our language straight, for anything that I refer to in this, a detectable warning pad, that's usually what you see at a crosswalk as part of the ramp going down to a crosswalk. That's that square red area with the raised domes on it. They haven't been used, to my knowledge, in the Ann Arbor area, but many communities in the US are starting to use what's called a detectable guidance strip. We actually do have a case now of some of these being used in Ann Arbor. I forgot to mention that. That's just being built. I can talk about that in a little bit. But a detectable guidance strip uses a different kind of tactile marker and material along a sidewalk, and people can go get training to learn how to detect that and to be able to feel that either underfoot or with a cane. And that's really about connecting people to crosswalks or to building entrances. And then the third piece, and this is the one that's most applicable today, is what's called a detectable edge treatment. And that's something that's usually anywhere from a foot wide to maybe 4 feet wide. That would be a material to kind of mark the transition between a safe pedestrian area and where there might be vehicles, either a parking lane or a vehicular lane. And the intent with these detectable edge treatments is that they be something that has that visual contrast, like I mentioned, in the material, but that can also be felt either underfoot or with a walking cane to help identify those different areas. That said, where the guidance falls a little short is that there's not a standard material or standard specification for what this material can be. The federal guidance really says engage your local disability community to help understand and sort through what would make sense to use locally. So there's a few different examples. In some cases, they'll use a guideway material or perhaps something like a concrete paver unit that has like a fake faux cobblestone texture to it, something that's rough, which might pose some issues from a wheelchair access standpoint. So there's that trade-off to make, and questions about exposed aggregate or maybe other brickwork that is a little bit less extreme than a cobble, but may still be detectable. And so how we've been looking at this is a bird's eye view looking kind of at the conceptual layout. This is North University Street coming into State Street. So the crosswalk that's here that I'm sort of moving my mouse around, like that's the one that leads you right into Nichols Arcade today, just to kind of get everyone's bearings oriented. So the blue boxes would be a normal detectable pad at a crosswalk aligned with the direction of travel and where people should go. And we're working through a few different alternatives for this detectable edge treatment. So what you see on the screen here is what we're calling option A. And these orange bars or orange bands would be a 1 or a 2 foot wide band of that material. And in this scheme, it's positioned sort of at the immediately between the vehicle area and that amenity zone. So you can see the parking spaces along here or the roadway. It can be used to sort of wrap the corners where the detectable pad at the crosswalk end. So if people detect that, they know not to go straight through, but to find the detectable edge, or excuse me, the detectable crossing pad. A second option that we're looking at, we're calling option B. This would put that material right on the outside edge of the clear sidewalk space. So before you get into the amenity area, I think one of the advantages of that is as you start to come up towards the crossings and the crosswalks, following that edge can help guide you and lead you around to where the crossing points are. And then a third approach would be to take that amenity zone material that's differentiating the sidewalk from the amenity zone or the streetscape area of the street and have that material entirely be something that's has a rougher surface on it or a more of a detectable surface underfoot within that area. So I went through that pretty quick. That was all we have. We're curious if you have any, questions. We're happy to answer those about the design of the State Street in general, where it's going. I think it's consistent overall with the direction last time we talked and met with you. But some of our, particular questions that we have, and we can go back and pull these slides up, would be if there's a preference for that option A, B, or C from your vantage point, and then just helping us think through what materials might be preferred and how we can navigate that balance between wheelchair access and navigability and comfort versus the proper detection for people with vision disabilities. So I don't know, Amber, did you have anything else you wanted to add? Otherwise,
No, I think if it's okay with the commissioners, we'd like to pause here and just get your feedback.
Mozak has her hand up.
Sure. Kathleen, go ahead.
oh, you're muted.
You're on mute, Kathleen.
Okay. So you were asking which one we preferred. I think A is sort of a little bit of a fail, and here's why I think A is a fail. So if we're using that detectable line for someone who is sight impaired, it means that they may wish to use that as a follow, to help guide them straight. And what I see in this picture is it's between the trees and the lampposts and the parking. And so the line would then run them into trees and lampposts. So for me, I think the most successful ones are B and C. C being actually the optimal one because it gives them the widest amount, because what I'm thinking about is inclement weather. Snow, rain, sleet, all of that. It would give them more of a possibility of finding that material than it would with the smaller strip. So that's my opinion.
Thank you, Kathleen. I was going to say the exact same thing. So just to piggyback off of you and what you were saying, I think option C gives a wider range for those individuals to get, number one, out of traffic. And then number two, it gives them a safer option rather than being confined to a narrow area. So that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, if you were on if you were to miss that band with the cane, or you just happened, you're pacing of your feet, stepped over it, you might not notice it, or you wouldn't notice it. In that case, there's a chance. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt. Please continue.
Keeler has his hand up.
Who does, Denise? Go ahead. Whoever's has their hand up.
Keeler.
I think it's me. Yeah, I have my question is, my basic question is, are you having people test the different, testing the different ones, the different A, B, and C location ideas? Are you having people test them, or? I think I like idea C2 the best, but me being visually impaired and having wandered into streets on occasion where the curbs are not defined well, I'm just kind of curious if you're going to have people test out the what you're doing.
Yeah, we've definitely discussed, regardless of what option ultimately gets installed, wanting to do some monitoring and feedback on that to understand how it's working. As far as, building test plots or things like that, I don't know if that was what you were suggesting. That really hasn't been discussed as an option for this, given the timing. But
and thank you, Kathleen, for looking at it, because I wouldn't have known about option A. I would have, I'm one who would go along the edge of that and bump my head on everything.
Go ahead, Ms. Miller. Did you have
Fortunately, it's a hard head. But
I was just going to say, there may be a way where we could find similar materials that already exist downtown. And if anyone's interested in visiting those locations and providing feedback, that could be a way we could test it.
One thing, a question that we have to that point. So this image that's on the screen, this is right behind South University. Next, there's a little plaza next to that, the parking garage that's there. And, one question we have is the exposed aggregate a material that would even work from a detectability standpoint? I mean, our assumption there is that, you're probably not going to feel the difference under your foot, but it's a rough texture. You might feel the difference with a walking stick if that catches one of the lips. Another thing that we've been wondering about, and I don't have an image of it in here, but could pavers that have slightly more significant gaps in them work as well? Again, maybe not underfoot, but potentially with the cane. So like the pavers that are in the amenity zone along the new Huron streetscape, and also there's kind of more of a brick color paver that's on the First Street design. Both of those have a little bit more separation and could be ones to check out. Maybe I'm sure there's a plaza around that has cobble in it that we could point to as well.
And now with the William and Division bikeways, we do have some of the detectable guideways installed at the transit stops there.
William and Division?
Yes. Mhm.
I'll have to walk down there. I haven't been down there on foot in a while.
Thank you. Those are interesting points. Does anyone else have any questions or feedback?
Yes, there are two. I can't see who.
Yes, I have a question.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
You said that you would get pavers that have a little bit of a gap in there. And I'm just wondering, is that going to be hard for the people in wheelchairs?
Yeah, the ones that we've used are all ADA certified or accessible, so they're not, the gaps are pretty minimal, and usually what they are, it's about a 1/4 inch gap in the pavers, sometimes even a little less, and there's actually a kind of coarse sand that fills those gaps. And those gaps are usually part of having a porous or a permeable paver that lets water run through them or between those gaps, but it's a pretty solid uniform surface otherwise.
Okay, that's what I wondered.
I also think it's important for us to hear if any of you have been to those locations and had a different experience. That's important for us to get that feedback as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to go back to the question about the material being used. When I saw the aggregate material, again, I'm more concerned with alternate weather. So when everything is fine and dandy and sunny and there's no, precipitation or anything like that, it's easier to detect differences in sidewalk versus aggregate material. But once we start getting that rain or sleet or snow, it's more difficult to get that sensation. So for me, I would be more inclined to think that it should be something more rough, like you were saying with the pavers. I'm not as concerned about wheelchairs because you've allayed my fear by describing the pavers being very close together, that the gap is not very large. And I know that there are several areas in Ann Arbor, I think Liberty Plaza is one of them, that has a similar thing to what you're talking about. So I think that might be more doable. But, Larry, what's been your experience in terms of different materials and using a cane to detect those materials?
I think he's muted.
I was trying to unmute myself.
Oh, okay.
My experience is if I sort of know the area and sort of know what it is, I'm good. But sometimes a switch up on materials throws me for a second. So I'm pretty good with most of the stuff. My favorite dividing material though is that those little domes at the crosswalk. That's the one that I think is the easiest, but I don't know if they can do them all the way down the road there.
Yeah, that's something that,
Because the advantage for the little domes at the crosswalk is not only is it easy to detect with the cane, it's also easy to detect in the winter because it doesn't if the sidewalks aren't clean, it doesn't get really too bad, and it also makes an interesting a slightly different sound when the cane tip goes over it. So that's my preferred, but I can get used to anything provided I know it's there. The small thing I can see with the gaps in the gap part though is that some people's canes, the white cane, some people's tips are very small and could possibly get stuck in one of them things for a second or just kind of jerk on it.
Mhm.
My tip is pretty big, so it just rolls right over top of it, but I do notice it.
okay.
That's really helpful.
Absolutely. Does anyone have any other questions? Don't see anyone else. Well, I want to thank you both for your efforts and time on this. Is it okay, Amber and Oliver, if there are future questions about this, are we able to reach out to you guys and ask questions and please keep us informed with how the project is going and different things. And if you want to present on progress, that would be welcome as well.
Yeah, that sounds great. Absolutely. Please reach out to us with questions or additional feedback. I believe that presentation and questions were shared in advance. So if you want to take some time to reflect on that, we're happy to get your feedback over the coming weeks. And we can certainly come back on the outcome as well.
Wonderful. Well, thank you both very much. We appreciate what you're doing to make our city more accessible.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank
Have
you.
a good evening.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. So next in the presentation, because I know Katie's been waiting patiently, we have Katie Monkiewicz with the Washtenaw Library for the Blind and Physically Disabled. So I'd like to welcome Katie.
Hi, everybody. Good to be here. Glad to hear about the improvements being made to our city. So happy to wait through that. Tell you about a couple of things that we've got going on at the library. We are currently having a call for artists. The Ann Arbor District Library is seeking visual artists for exhibition on the gallery screen in the lobby at the downtown library. Established artists offering the non-exclusive licensing of existing works and emerging artists proposing the creation of new works are both invited to apply. Themes that are particularly welcome are the Great Lakes region, heritage, and futures. Works AADL is seeking include still visual art and non-narrative video art under 1 minute, including motion graphics and animation, no audio included. This is an open call. It started December 1st and it goes until January 31st. The selection process will take place in February. All applicants will be notified by March 1st. And there are commissions and payment. They will be $500 for non-exclusive license of existing work and $1,000 for proposals for new work. So more information, including how to submit for the call, can be found at aadl.org/call-for-artists. We've got a book discussion coming up for the book My Sister, the Serial Killer by Oyin Khan Braithwaite. That is on Thursday, December 16th from 6 to 7 p.m. on Zoom. Join the AADL staff and other community members for the discussion of My Sister, the Serial Killer by Oyin Khan Braithwaite. Slasher meets satire in this darkly comic novel set in Nigeria about a woman whose younger sister has a very inconvenient habit of killing her boyfriends. We'll start the discussion by asking what surprised you about this book. Then we are having an author spotlight on Stephen Graham Jones on AADL TV. That's Monday, December 27th from 4 to 4:30 p.m. Join AADL staff as we shine a spotlight on the works of a single author. This month, we'll look at the novels of Stephen Graham Jones. Stephen Graham Jones is a New York Times bestselling author of nearly 30 novels and collections, and he has been the winner of many literary awards. His most recent book is My Heart is a Chainsaw. Stephen lives and teaches in Boulder, Colorado. All right, materials. As always, WLBPD patrons can order digital cartridges by calling 734-327-4224 or emailing us at wlbpd@aadl.org. To sign up for the Braille and audio reading service, BARD, or so that you can download your own books, visit nlsbard.loc.gov or call us and we can assist you with the application. Two books that I've mentioned today are available on Bard. My Sister, the Serial Killer by Oyenkan Braithwaite. Though it wears on her, Coreed has grown very good at cleaning up her sister's messes, namely those left after she murders her boyfriends. The bright spot in Coreed's life is a kind doctor at the hospital where she works, until the day he meets Coreed's sister and asks for her number. My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones. In a quickly gentrifying rural town, tourists begin to die, and the tension between the community and the celebrity newcomers heads to a tipping point. Protected by her encyclopedic knowledge of horror films, Jade of Blackfoot descent hopes it is enough to help her survive. And finally, the 2022 Washtenaw read has been announced. It is Being Human, an unrepentant memoir of disability rights activist by Judith E. Human. Disability rights activist recounts her lifelong battle to achieve acceptance and inclusion after being paralyzed from polio as a child. She describes the difficulties she faced seeking education and work, as well as her many efforts to seek protections that helped lead to the creation of the Americans with Disabilities Act. That is all that I have for y'all today. Does anybody have any questions or comments for me?
I just wanted to say, I think that that title that you just mentioned, Being Human, just what a remarkable story, and hopefully many can read that.
Yeah, I was so pleased when that was chosen for the read this year. I was telling everybody to vote for it. It's a really great book, and both in print and the audiobook is excellent as well. The woman who reads it, I'm saying this off the top of my head, but I think her name is Allie Stoker, something like that. She is actually the first woman on Broadway in a wheelchair. And so she reads the book, and she does an excellent job. So I highly recommend everybody check that out.
Really cool. And thank you, Katie, and all of your staff for all that you guys do at the Ann Arbor District Library. Just amazing stuff. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right, guys, moving on. I'd like to actually just go to really quick to the approval of the agenda as well as our minutes. I hope that's okay, just so we can be able to get those approved as well. I believe with the other commissioners that we had join in, Denise, we are at a quorum to do that. Is that correct?
Yes, we are.
Oh, we're not. Okay.
Yes, we are.
Okay. Well, never mind then. Because I
That we
was
are at a
talking.
quorum.
What's that?
That we do have a quorum.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yes, we have a quorum.
Oh, we do have one.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm having it sounded very muffled, so I wasn't sure. So, all right. Well, then, since we do, that's wonderful. So, is everyone okay with approving today's agenda? Is there a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
All right, move to approve, and then it looks like
I'll second it.
okay, Debbie seconds. All right, if you can just unmute, please, and if you are in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye.
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 Thank you. Great.
Aye.
All right, and next is the approval of the meeting minutes from November. I know that we did send those out, and they are in the agenda. If you have any questions about those, or if there are any edits or anything, please feel free to speak up at this time. But if there are not, I'd like to make a motion to approve the November meeting minutes. And is there a second? Okay, Kathleen, thank you. All in favor of approving the Kodai meeting minutes, please unmute and say aye.
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 All right, thank you. I appreciate that, guys. It's good to get those approved, and hopefully everyone has an opportunity to equally review those, so that that is adequate. So next, we're going to skip back down to presentations. I know that Alex could not be here today for the meeting for the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living, so no problem. And Alex, thank you for letting us know. And of course, if anyone does have any questions about the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living, they can always visit the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living at aacil.org. So thank you to Alex, and we look forward to seeing him soon. Next, we have the Community Engagement Committee and Ann Arbor Inclusive Update from Rachel Hawkins.
Hello. So we not a ton of updates right now. So the current episodes for Ann Arbor Inclusive are reruns. They haven't decided which one, so I'm not certain. But they'll be having a new episode in January, and it's still to be announced who will be the guest. So, but the new show premieres Friday, January 21st.
All right, wonderful stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Rachel, and yeah, thank you to you and all the work that they're doing with Ann Arbor Inclusive. Great stuff. Next, we do have the Partners in Access Committee report. Is there anyone else who was at that meeting that could report on that? I know that they did meet. Larry, did you have any feedback?
I didn't make that meeting. I didn't get the code in time, so I wasn't sure we had it. I had something else to do, and I looked and I found out that I did get it, but it was kind of late. I didn't get it.
No problem.
I also
Yeah.
wasn't able to be there, so I don't have an update either.
Okay, no
So
problem.
I think it was probably Alex or Alex.
Yep, no problem. Thank you, and we will just get the report on the Partners in Access Committee at the next meeting. So thank you. And Larry, I wanted to stick with you, my friend, because we have recruiting activity. So do you mind letting us know, is there any recruiting activity going on?
And not as far as I know, but I see Councilwoman Nelson is there, and I'm going to try to meet with her between now and the next meeting and see if we got anything, since she's so good at looking it up. And I'll thank her in advance for that. But yeah, I'm going to start looking around, because it's just been, I haven't seen a lot of people and anything. Don't know about the applications, but gonna get to it.
Well, and thank you both, for your work with that. Recruiting is definitely important. We want to be able to give, anyone who's interested within the city, an opportunity to do this and be a part of our great group. And then to all of you who continue to serve and do great things, we are appreciative. So thank you, Larry and Elizabeth.
One of the things go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'll tell you what I'm thinking.
Go ahead.
One of the things I do need to do between now and next month is see how many vacancies we have, and see if we have any applications to fill them. But I have to see how many vacancies we have first, because I know we're going to have one with Mr. Hall.
Yep. Yeah.
Commissioner Hall pretty soon.
Yep. Absolutely. All right. Is that it on recruiting, Larry?
Yeah.
All right. So speaking of Tim Hall, he's not here. He was going to be joining us later, possibly at the back half of the meeting, but he did send his Transportation Commission update, which I can report on. He said that they had some discussion on the Winchell and Brockman sidewalk project, as well as the pavement condition. Though the bulk of the discussion, according to Tim's report, was regarding the proposed widening of the East Medical Center Drive Bridge at the U of M Hospital. Many commissioners sort of pushed back at that, apparently due to not wanting to add additional car lanes well, particularly general purpose car lanes, as opposed to bus lanes. And the commission will be discussing this at this evening's meeting as well. So hopefully we can get some more information on that. And he said, of course, aside from that, it was mostly routine status updates and things. But I want to thank Tim again for his work with the Transportation Commission and his work on the commission, because as Larry, as you mentioned, he will be stepping down from the commission as well as the Transportation Commission, of course. So we appreciate his service and what he's done for us in the community. And I do hope, by the way, that that he's communicated to those commissioners that have been interested, and hopefully that can be a steady transition as Tim leaves as well, to the commissioners that are interested in the Transportation Commission opportunity. So, all right, let's see, let me bring up my agenda here. All right, next, we have the U of M Council for Disability Concerns meeting update with Kathleen. Kathleen?
Hello, everyone. Well, actually, this was one of those weird months where our meeting was yesterday because it was the second Tuesday. Today's the third Wednesday. So I'm going to do everything off the top of my head, but it was a very short meeting. It was a lot of housekeeping issues. I would like to share with you a quote that we opened with because I felt it was very thought-provoking. And it was, hang on, I need a light. It's getting very dark. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, same here.
Sorry about that. Okay, so the quote is, "What is considered normal is arbitrary and requires deconstruction," by A.J. Withers. And I thought that was just fabulously thought-provoking. Mostly yesterday's meeting was community group updates because it is the end of the year. There are obviously no notes. We can share that with the commission next month. And the last thing I'd like to share with you is actually my heartfelt thanks to Stephanie Rosen. Dr. Rosen, it was her last day as chairperson of the Council for Disability Concerns. And through her hard work and her leadership, the council, I believe, has really grown and thrived. And I'm looking forward to seeing what will happen under our new chair. That has not been announced. And I wish her all the best in the future. That's everything I have.
Thank you, Kathleen, so much. And thank you to the U of M Council for Disability Concerns. I know that it does wonders, not just for the university community, but, for our community as a whole. And I feel, very, very grateful individually that we have the opportunity to work in unison with them, and just great work that they're doing. So thank you. Next up, we have the city personnel report with Denise.
Good afternoon. I have nothing to report this meeting.
All right. Well, and it's crazy because I think the last few reports, there's been so many new hires and different people coming in and out. So absolutely. And hopefully those individuals who have, come on and got their feet wet have been doing well and all that stuff. So thank you, Denise.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, as far as the chair report, guys, wasn't necessarily much as of this particular month. The biggest thing, I would say is that if there's anything that you guys really, really want to address, please always understand that I am open to hearing from you and will do my best to incorporate that. If you guys need my contact information, I can definitely get it to you, but please, feel free to reach out, text me or email me or give me a call. And if there are definitely some things that you feel need to be addressed or want to be addressed, I'm happy to do that. But as of right now, I don't have much on the chair report at this time. All right. And then moving on to old business, you guys, I know we had talked about just kind of getting some more information in terms of, consistent reporting from the city ADA coordinator and being able to have that particular person report to us on a regular basis. So I'm still working on getting that line of communication open I'm hoping that Denise and I, and possibly Larry as the vice chair, can have a meeting with John again and talk about, our meetings being on their radar so that, they can, definitely report on something if it is needed. Of course, we did talk about how, again, they have a system in place where, if a complaint comes in, that particular complaint usually gets handed off to the particular, city department that would deal with that. So again, the road commission or, some sort of, other city entity, and they would handle that individually. But again, I think it's still important to have clear communication and know what is going on that front. So I'm still working on that, you guys. And as soon as I do have some more information, I will let all of you know. As far as the Partners in Access Committee bike traffic report, I know that Alex said he was going to be working on that. I think that PIA was planning on talking with some other individuals about that. I will follow up with Alex Gossage about that. Did Larry or Rachel, did you guys have any other tidbits as far as Partners in Access on the bike traffic report?
No, I do have something to bring up for new business though.
Okay.
So maybe I'll wait for a second.
Yeah, just one more thing and then we'll get to new business. So absolutely. So if there's nothing to report for that, no problem, you guys. And the new transportation commissioner, of course, I want to make sure that everyone has had an opportunity to realize that the transportation commissioner spot for the Commission on Disability Issues is open to sit on that commission and be sort of a liaison for us. I know that there was one commissioner that is interested, and I've done my best to connect both that interested party and Commissioner Tim Hall so that they can begin sort of that transition. But I will follow up with both of them in Commissioner Button as well as Commissioner Hall to make sure that that transition is fluid. And to be honest, I also want to know when Commissioner Hull's sort of last meeting is. Of course, we're not pushing him out the door at all, but I just want to make sure that we have a good solid timeline on that so that everyone can be prepared. And of course, that the commissioner that does take that spot on the Transportation Commission can be ready for that time commitment and expect that going forward as well. So I'll also be in touch with them. Moving on to new business. Larry, you said you had a point for new business?
This might be for our Partners in Access. I have a feeling it's Pittsfield Township, but I need to see if there's a way around that. I had from a citizen a request for possibly 2 APSs at 2 different intersections. One being Pittsfield and Washtenaw, the other being Fernwood and Packard.
Larry, do you mind adjusting your microphone for me? I'm so sorry. I heard the beginning.
Oh, yeah. Well,
okay.
I really can't. Can you hear me better, though?
Yes,
Yeah.
I can.
Okay. The 2 APSs that were requested by the citizen were one at Pittsfield and Washtenaw out there by Arborland, and the other one was Fernwood and Packard. That's a crossing that a lot of kids use to go to school, and he's visually impaired, and he wants to know if we can do anything about that. So I think that's one thing we should put on to explore if we can do it or not. I think that's Pittsfield Township, but maybe we can still do something about it.
Okay. Now, did you know with that request that was submitted, did they have a specific ask, or is it just about making it more accessible?
Well, they want the APS.
Sorry, you broke up there.
They want the APS. They want the APS.
Okay.
Wait, did you say Fernwood Packard?
I did.
That's not Pittsfield Township. That's the city. That's definitely the city.
That's not Pittsfield. That's not.
No.
What about Washtenaw? What about Washtenaw and Pittsfield?
That I think is also the city. Yeah, I think the city goes
Oh,
all the way
nice.
to Carpenter. Not my ward, but I'm pretty
Okay.
sure it goes that far.
Yeah.
Okay, then it might be possible.
All right, absolutely. So let's see. Thank you for bringing that up. I would definitely like to put that as a point to address. As far as access, I mean, I don't want to overload, partners in access committee because they're already working on the bike traffic report, or at least Alex already, volunteered to do that. So, but I still think it's important to address. I guess, what I'm trying to figure out is, okay, they're asking if we can, put that in, but I guess if we can put it on the agenda, I can reach out to someone and see if they can speak with them, or kind of what the best method to get that addressed would be. Because obviously there's going to be, a bunch of other questions. It's, I don't think it's unfortunately as simple as just having it, installed, unfortunately, but but I'm hoping that, if I can find out, like, Larry, do you have that person's information, or do you have their, like, was that an email request and they wrote up an email or something?
Oh, no, he's a friend of mine.
Oh,
And he lives out that way. And I don't know if he wants to give his information, but he asked me if I could put in the request. And I know exactly why he wants it, because he's a visually impaired guy, and it makes it easier for him to cross with an APS out at those locations.
Yeah. Okay.
He has kids that go to Scarlet School, and he walks them to Scarlet School, and he walks up to Arbor quite a bit.
Okay.
Where
Councilwoman
he
Wilson,
lives.
I'm sorry. One
Yeah,
second.
I had a conversation with the former city administrator on this topic. We had a meeting, actually, Alex Gossage and I did, and we didn't end up looping back, but I was curious. I had witnessed communication from the Center for Independent Living going through staff to request something like this. And I was curious, like, do we have, like, is there a formal procedure where just any resident could go on a website and say, and like Larry, like your friend, saying, like, this is my situation, I have this need, these are the locations that I am specifically requesting? Because anyway, like, we didn't get very far down that path, but I do know that we can communicate to the city and have those particular ones prioritized. It's not a real formal process, but certainly, like Alex has advocated in the past. And I feel like the city council had something on their agenda quite recently that was sort of a pot of money that was specific to, we are upgrading these signals. And so there's money available to upgrade these signals. It's just a matter of, like, figuring out where we were going to put it. I don't know that the pot of money was for upgrading every single signal, but, like, we have choices to make as far as which ones.
I guess we'll have to look for it then.
Well, and so,
See
yeah.
who we contact, yeah.
Well, and Councilwoman Nelson, I think you bring up a great point. I mean, who would be the appropriate person to really bring that to, I guess?
Well, I can send an email to our new city administrator and CC Alex Gossage, because Alex was in the loop for conversations that we had maybe a year ago on this topic. Because it is awkward, like, not knowing where to go. Like, I feel like there should just be a tab on the website that says, if you're a resident, like, tell us where you live. We'll, like, verify that you actually do live there, and just let us know which signals you need. Because I can't imagine that this is going to be like a stampede of people requesting these things. We can just put them where people will use them.
Right. No, good point. Absolutely. All right. Well, Larry, hopefully that answers your question, and thank you, Councilwoman Nelson, for your assistance on that. All right. Is there anything else that anyone has to add for new business? All right. So next, I'm so sorry, Kathleen. Go ahead.
That's okay. Maybe you couldn't see me. I don't know if this is old or new, and I don't know if this is going to be a thorn in anyone's side, but we got some traction with Snow Buddy, and there was the report, and then it all died, and now we're in our next winter. And I'm wondering, is that something we need to continue to explore. Have we heard anything? Councilwoman, have you heard anything, or are we just in a holding pattern?
Snow
Thank
removal
you.
specifically where and how? Are we talking about I know we had a conversation at one point about I think Zach might have brought it up about like the snowbanks between like where you park a car and getting to the sidewalk, or
Snowbody was doing a report on how to partner with the city with regards to snow removal. And the other issue is that's been a longstanding thorn in my side is that the language may have been changed on the website, so I apologize if I'm misspeaking, but seeing people with disabilities and seniors who cannot clear their driveways and their sidewalks to meet with the city ordinance for snow removal were asked to contact the city to let them know. And then there's no safety net. There's nothing there available for them to actually help them. And Snowbody was trying to figure out a way to do that. So I guess that's a lot. That's a big bite right there, but I don't want to see it die. I mean, our citizens who are seniors or disabled, either whether permanently or temporarily because they broke their leg and they can't get through the winter, they need our assistance and they need our help. I don't think it's fair that, they're under the same arbitrary or under the same ordinance and yet don't have the same physical ability to maintain or meet that ordinance. So I don't want to see it die.
Yeah,
I agree.
and I completely agree, folks. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to speak over anyone. I just wanted to say that I completely agree, and I don't want to see that go away either. It's a valuable service, and needs to continue. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought we had also determined that we were putting information available up on our disability resource page. But I'm not sure if that information is still accessible or not either. So yeah, it's definitely something to visit.
We got a report
speak to-
recently, and I can find it and send it to the whole commission. There was an assessment of Snowbody as a model for the city, and we got a price estimate. And I think there's conversation about doing a pilot, but it unfortunately is not what Kathleen is talking about. I hear what you're saying, and it's something that I've been talking about since I first got on council, and I have not been able to get traction on just identifying people in need and figuring out how to pair them up with services that would be helpful. I mean, it feels like we should have enough able-bodied teenagers in town even to figure this out. But the idea of Snowbody and that being city responsibility to remove snow on sidewalks, we have gotten a little bit further. We have a report, but I don't know about what is likely to happen this winter. I don't know.
Thank you. I just, and again, there are so many people out there, different religious areas, Peace Neighborhood Center, that may actually have volunteers that might be willing and able, but there's no way to connect. So I just think that this dialogue just needs to continue until we can actually come up with some sort of real solution.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that we should continue to have this on the forefront of our minds, especially like you said, Kathleen, as winter approaches. I mean, I myself have a very difficult time navigating the ice and snow, with forearm crutches and things. So I completely agree. And, it's an important need. And Elizabeth, I agree with you. There's a lot of great resources here. I think it's just about adequately connecting the dots somehow. And I think, putting our minds together, I think we can do that. So, all right.
I tried to raise my hand, but it didn't seem to work. So,
sorry about that, Larry. Go ahead.
When we were working on snow buddies, it seemed to be two separate issues. It seemed to be snow buddies was started in a neighborhood, in a smaller neighborhood, and they had bought all their equipment and they were, doing their neighborhood. And, the implication there was we were trying to get them to do the whole city, and I'm not sure that worked. The other piece of it was, I don't know if snow buddies would have been the only thing. We were trying to look for agencies that would help out and, take care of other neighborhoods where people with disabilities live that couldn't get out and shovel their snow. And I don't know. It went to a certain point, and it apparently just went because I never heard anything else about it. And I helped work on it.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and I
we'll have to chase down the threat as soon as we can. I'll have to look at all the Snow Buddy stuff I got.
Yeah, and
I got
I'll
a lot
have
of
to
Snow
go.
Buddy stuff.
Absolutely. I agree with you, Larry. And I'll have to go back and look at that as well because, I remember discussing that and visiting it as well. And I'm not sure where it ended up. So I know we got as far
Yeah,
as
it seemed to be almost two separate issues.
in some cases.
So I want to,
Yeah.
I want to make sure that if you don't live in the neighborhood where the Snow Buddies are at, and you're asking the Snow Buddies to come out of their neighborhood, they're going to want something for that too. So I think
Right.
we were looking for other agencies
Right. Absolutely.
that would take care of that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Deb, you had your hand up.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Okay. It seems like there's two problems. One is that they need to have a list of people who need the help, and a way for the people that need help to get to an organization like Snow Buddies that can help them. Would the United Way or AAA be an agency that we can connect the elderly and disabled to the people who need the help?
United Way or AAA. Yeah, I mean, I would think, that or some other agencies as well. That could help. I mean,
Look, you can register through the city. Almost.
Well, we need to get
Be able
the
to.
people that need the help to the people that can help. And first of all, we have to have a list of both of those things. Of
Yeah.
who can do it and who needs the help, because that's the biggest problem right there, is the big gap between the two.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Yeah, it's a tough go because like I think you said, Larry, there's two different factions, and I really think that the
Not factions,
service
just
should be
pieces.
available to all that need it. So it's just about, finding that organization that's willing to help kind of support the mission and vision of Snow Buddies and get behind it. Because obviously Snow Buddies didn't it start in the Waterhill neighborhood, I thought? Or I don't know. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think I'll have to look it up. I think that's right.
Yeah. So I think that started in Waterhill and that's great. But of course, I mean, if it can be, in every neighborhood, why not? So, I agree with you guys. We should definitely put this, as something to revisit it promptly before we get too much snow. So yeah, I'd like to be able to revisit that and then kind of, I'll look at my emails too, Larry, and if you can also, and then we'll figure out kind of where we left off in terms of maybe identifying a partner organization. And then from there, kind of look at the next steps and see, what's the appropriate path to take from here. All right.
Sure.
Anything else? Let's see. Oh, yes. Under new business, we finally have meeting schedules for 2022. Denise, did you want to, was there any other additional information on that, or were we just going to talk about the schedule for 2022?
Well, Commissioner Posner has her hand up, and I was just going to ask, did you want to vote on the meeting schedule for 2022?
Okay.
I sent both the Partners in Access and the Kodai Commission
Okay.
as a whole.
Deb, you had your hand up.
Yes, I was wondering if we should be looking for volunteers for the Snow Buddies. If we can look for volunteers like from Peace or from the different agencies that might be able to round up some people that might be able to help.
Yeah, I mean,
Thinking
that's definitely a possibility. I just can't think of any particular big volunteer groups off the
It-
top of my head that would be able to have to do some thinking and maybe I can together
I'll have to
It-
put together a list of
Yep.
yeah.
It might
Yeah.
have to be a bunch of people helping and not just one group, but a bunch of groups helping. And to get the like kids that need to do community service, or kids that need to have something to do after school or before school, they could do that, with some supervision.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, I'll definitely think of some definitely sort of youth organizations that may be interested in helping. I can try and put together a little bit of a list. And as we talk about this, see if those are some possibilities. Like I said, I'll also do some more research on snow buddies, see what I can dig up in terms of our last conversation about this, and then keep it moving. Absolutely. Okay, so as far as snow buddies, is there anything else?
Councilwoman Nelson had her hand up.
Oh, Council.
Yeah, I was just gonna add to the point that was just made. I was trying to figure out if we could partner with high school, how much supervision a 16-year-old even requires. But exactly what you said about like people who wanted to have volunteer hours or something.
Your
This
phone
is a
is playing
conversation I've had
tune.
now with the idea of if the city were to lead a program, we could have a fancy title to whatever it is and track the hours, and younger people would have something to put on an application for college or something. It's true that there are a lot of really ambitious kids in this town that are looking for opportunities to demonstrate that they are committed to their community. And so I feel strongly that, just to echo what others have said, like you just need somebody who's willing to take it on and be sort of the organizing piece of it, connecting the people who need it to the people who can help. And I guess I'll try again with a third city administrator, see how far I can get. I've talked to Missy Stoltz about it. I've talked to Missy Stoltz about this as consistent with the sustainability goals of making our neighborhoods more resilient in times of crisis. I'll revisit those conversations. This just feels like it shouldn't be such a heavy lift. It just shouldn't be.
I agree.
But I try to revisit conversations I've already had.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. And, I think we're all on the same wavelength there about that. So, I feel good about going back and addressing it. I feel bad that it's, December now, and we're revisiting it, but I say, better to do it now than to not do it. So at least we're visiting. And then as far as the meeting schedules for 2022, Denise, so you did send those out and everyone did get a chance to review those, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, were there any objections then to the commission meeting schedule for 2022? All right.
I
Then-
move we vote the schedules as is.
Okay. I'm with that as well. I'd like to second that. So I guess all in favor of approving the meeting schedules for 2022, if you could please raise your hand and say aye and unmute.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, wonderful. So that is set. Denise, I did see that, but if you don't mind resending me those as well, because I did have them. I just didn't put them on my desktop. So.
I say schedules, I guess calendars for the 2020.
Yeah, calendars. Yep. So thank you. Yeah, if you could just send those to me again, because I know I have them. I just can't find them on my email right now. All right. Well, with that, is there anything else before we adjourn this evening? Okay. Well, with that, you guys, we will adjourn, but I'd like to say to all of you, happy holidays to you. And I wish all of you a very, very, very fruitful new year. I hope you have an opportunity to rest, to replenish, and to also kick off your 2022 with the bang. I really hope that that this new year brings all of you all the good that you're working towards. And again, to all the commissioners that could not be here today, thank them as well for their service, and to the city for this opportunity. We're doing great things, you guys, and we're very fortunate to have the opportunities that we do, and it's a pleasure to work with all of you. And thank you to CTN as well. And thank you guys so much. We'll see you next meeting.
Next year.
Next
Happy
year.
holidays.
Holidays, everyone.